And we are live. Welcome to the Thunder from Down Under. I'm your host, Graham Solomon, and been off for a couple of months. So this is our first podcast for a couple of months. And it is now June. So, guys, we're halfway through the year. Hope everyone's going well in their real estate investing in the US. And today I've got a special guest. But before I introduce him, I'd just like to remind everyone just to smash that like button, smash the heart button for our guests coming up. It gives them a bit of encouragement. And remember to, if you're watching live, to jump in the chat, ask any questions, shout out where you're coming in from, and to say hello to myself and Marty. Now, also, if you're not part of the family and you want to be notified when we go live, go to the Graham Solomon Thunder from Down Under YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon. It's right there in the front when you get land. It's really easy. Just hit it and become part of the family so you can meet legends like I've got on now. His name is Marty Neville, and he is a virtual wholesaler. He's done investing. He's done long-term investing in the US, and now he is up and about and doing wholesale deals in Ohio. And I think, if I'm correct, it's Dayton, Ohio, but no doubt it'll spread from there. The interesting thing about it is he's one of my cousins from over the Southern Hemisphere. We're the Southern Hemisphere guys. He is from New Zealand, and he's done all of this virtually from New Zealand. So it's great to see that Marty. I met Marty probably 6 months ago with another Aussie mate, Warren C. Shout out to Warren C, the Dispo King. And Marty just took to it like a fish in water. He was looking at buy and hold first, but now he's into the wholesaling. And man, he is off. But I'll let Marty tell you that. Marty, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here live from New Zealand.
Appreciate it, Graham.
The first thing I always ask Marty is give us a bit of your backstory. Even before real estate, what you were doing for a job, all the rest of it, and then how you got into real estate, whether it was in the US first or in New Zealand, and just give us a sort of a story of how it's all evolved to this stage where you're at now.
Yeah, so back in 2007, I took a job in a call center, and it ended up developing into, I was working for a property investment company, and ended up developing into like a consultant role. So I'd sort of go on the road with these seminars, and I'd see people in their homes after that. But the cool thing about it was that there's a bunch of mentors in there for me on the finance side and the property side, and they sort of schooled me up on how to go about it. So soon afterwards, I got my first rental over here. Since then, I spent 8 years in Aussie working in sort of oil and gas sector. I ended up getting a few rentals over there. But the frustration I had was that, in this part of the world, it's all about, the buzzword is like negative gearing, right? Everything's, a long-term play, and, don't worry, mate, over time be worth more than what it is now. And, I after that stint in Aussie, I spent 2 years in Philippines. My wife's from the Philippines. We've got a young family now. And during that time, it was lockdowns and all that with COVID. So I spent a lot of time on YouTube, and I started watching, property and investment stuff. And I stumbled across this other Aussie guy, and he was talking about US investment. And I was, blew my mind. I was like, well, what's all this about? Coming from an international perspective, I was just like, this is really interesting. So I ended up, giving him a call. The guy's name's Lindsay Stewart. And I was like, a bit dubious on the first call. Going to invest the money in some place you've never been to.
You got the full sales job. You got the full sales job, Lindsay, and it was
good on him, mate.
He was working the room and just because one. And I'll just butt in for a sec.
Right.
The Americans are the best at a story and at sales, and they're the best. That's we learn off the Americans.
Yeah.
So Lindsay's been dealing with stuff over there. Warren C's heard of him. You've dealt with him.
Yeah.
I've heard of him as well. And it sort of grows on you, doesn't it? You become like that. You become as pumped up as you're at an Anthony Robbins seminar with 5,000 Americans. You just get jacked up. So that's why I said that. because I could imagine, you would have been like, whoa, what's this all about?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's pretty genuine, down to earth guy, But what I was going to say, so I didn't bite at the first phone call, but he ended up having a composition, right? And it was basically how to identify a property, from the other side of the world, and work out if it's a good deal. And I was just like, whoa, I'm going to win this thing. So every day there's little challenges, and I end up winning it, right? So part of it was, I got some mentoring and a lot of it, courses and stuff, education, and then that sort of gave me the confidence. So not long after that, I brought my first place in Roseville, in Michigan, and it was really good yield. Everything was backwards over here on my portfolio, but over there it's like, making money each month, and like I brought it for 70, it was worth 100. So I was able to, refinance, get that whole chunk of cash out, and then get into my next one. And so, yeah, so that's how I sort of started getting into this stuff.
No, that's cool. So your background, I mean, it's good to have a call center's a great background for wholesaling, especially to be able to talk to people. That's what it's about. And a bit of finance and getting your head around all that, the way it works. You knew a bit of property, done some in New Zealand, some in Australia. So you were pretty much primed. And then you've met Lindsay. Lindsay set it up for you because it's sort of a done for you type of thing, isn't he? He does it for Australian investors in the US.
Yeah.
And over the years, there's been plenty of people in Australia that have done that and flown people over, and it's been a pretty big business. But the wholesaling is a whole new beast because we can invest over here. Like you said, it's very negatively geared.
Right.
It's a long-term strategy, but we can't get the cash flow. But with wholesaling, you can earn really good money, cash money, not much money down. And these are things that we just can't do in our country. They're against the law. So what was the thing that just got you? The first thing, was it the cash flow, or was it?
Yeah. Look, over there was the cash flow, but so what happened after I got that place in Michigan? I pulled out my money, then I went and got a duplex in Ohio. But then, interest rates started going up a little bit, and the rehab took a little bit longer. So I was like, man, I got the bug. I got to keep doing this. How can I keep being active? If I haven't got the capital to do it. Yeah. And so I'm not sure what it was, but I brought both those places off wholesalers, so I was sort of aware of it. And I guess just listening to podcasts and stuff about US investment, you just hear about it a bit more.
Yeah.
And so that was it, right? I had a little bit of knowledge. I was able to pull on that thread, and then I was just went sort of all in, and then just started to understand more, and talk to more people, and then start getting into wholesale.
Yeah, it's amazing, and we see a lot of American rehab, renovation shows they're called here, but rehab shows. There's 4 or 5 really good ones. Now, thinking back, I didn't recognise it this at the time. They'd always go and look at 3 different properties, and they'd pick one, and the wife would be there, the designer, and it'd be back to the frame, and now once you get into wholesaling, you realise, because you just don't see that over here. What it is that there's 3 wholesalers with 3 properties under contract, and they get the word, and they've got to race around there. There's homeless people living in there. There's stuff everywhere. It's back to the frame, and the guy says it's a good deal, and you see them rolling their eyes, and they don't say much on camera, but they're like, oh, yeah. Dodgy wholesaler, you can see it. So it's very different for us guys now watching those shows. And Dave Frizzell, the wholesaler's toolbox, is in the house.
Yeah.
We're actually beaming live for the first time to the wholesaler's toolbox. So thanks, David. Welcome. And he's got his eyes on us. He's just given us a set of eyes. So now we're looking at that. We just see it all, and we see the behind-the-scenes stuff. Like a wholesaler's got one under contract. There's 3 wholesalers. They go around, they check it all out. They do their comps. That's not something that's used a great deal here. You know what I mean? You just go, and to explain to the US people over in our countries, your realtor's your best friend. You end up having dinner with them and buddying up with them over a long period of time to buy rentals, and you have to borrow all the money from the bank, so it's a very slow process. But with that, you go and basically check out 3 places, pick one, put the offer in, and it's signed, and 14, 30 days you close, and it's amazing. So that's something that's really good. So obviously you probably started off with the buy and hold, the seller finance. You probably heard about the sub twos and thought, how long's this been going on for?
Right.
what made you turn the corner? Was it that you were sort of had time on your hands and you were waiting for things to happen? Was that how you sort of got into wholesaling?
Yeah, it was just like I really wanted to be involved in some capacity in US real estate, right? And that wholesaling seems to be the lowest barrier to entry. Once I started to understand a bit more about it, if you could just get access to data being someone's phone number, and just call them up, man, you got a shot.
Yeah,
It's not to say that you can't. So that
yeah.
that was it, right?
How, how would you go in New Zealand, walking up to someone's house and knocking on their door and asking if they want to sell their house for cash? How do you reckon you'd go?
Yeah, I mean, I, I don't think that act of it is the impossible part. I think the difference being with the two markets is that you know, geez, we're offering 50% of what the value is in
Yeah,
the US. If you went out to someone in NZ, well, mate, you get it wouldn't be a good ending. I don't.
yeah. Well, I know in Australia, you get a VB can thrown at you.
Yeah,
That knock on
it's
your
it,
door,
mate.
uh,
That's it.
and they'd ring the police. Same thing. What would happen in New Zealand? Because I know what would happen in Australia. If you walked up and said to someone, "I want to buy your house subject to, I want to take over your mortgage and just
Right.
keep that," people would ring the police, wouldn't they? Over
Yeah,
here,
yeah, for sure.
they'd put you in. They'd ring the asylum and say this guy needs to be put away. It's talking about. I mean, it's just amazing what you can do in the US, and like you said, the wholesaling is the lowest barrier of entry. But then once you get into it, you start learning. There's lease options, all this
Yeah,
stuff starts unfolding and
yeah,
becomes part of your tool belt. And then you hear about short sales and foreclosures, and everything's a lot different over here. So just for the audience, the US audience, that that's why we get so excited when we jump on and talk US real estate, because
sure.
it's amazing. And I often remind my American friends that it's the best real estate market in the world. Now, just saying that, another thing, how do you find the real estate space, the entrepreneurial space? How do you find the people in the US?
The best, mate. They've got an abundance mindset. Like if you talk to anyone that's in a similar position and to what you're doing over there or what you want to do, they'll break it down like play by play. Like this is how you do it, mate. Exactly. Just follow these steps, and you'll have success. But, talking about the comparison of countries, like if you or I done that to someone and over here, mate, they wouldn't give you the time of day. Like
Yeah,
it's they want it all for themselves, but over there it's like, man, let's share it.
it's amazing, and even just the content on YouTube is you could put together, you know, uh, a course
Mm,
yourself just by cherry picking stuff and putting it in on your computer, and you could make your own course up for zero.
yep,
Where the coaching and mentoring is good, is in any country, is if you find the right person and they are there to support you all the way through. When you're
yep,
new, sometimes when you're dealing with real estate contracts, a lot of stuff, you just need that support. But I mean, if you're a go getter, you could probably. I know I've heard of plenty of people in the industry that have just done it themselves, and all of a sudden got into wholesaling and just taken off. And it depends on the personality, but yeah, they are very, very in that space, that entrepreneurial real estate. Just amazing people, very generous,
for sure.
very caring, and I'll just shout out to my man Dave Frizzell, Ben Lovro, Nathan Payne, all these guys that I are in the wholesaling space, and Dave's he's Silicon Valley software guru now. He's got his own CRM and all that now. Market Pro, I'll do a plug. Market Pro, go and check it out. Cheapest one on the market, fantastic. But you know these people. Home Invest, Nate Armstrong and his team. I've met some amazing people that I just, even from over there, they'll ring you up and they'll say, "Oh, how you going? I heard this. How you going?" And these are multi millionaires. Some of these people, and they give you the time of day. There's actually a guy I used to follow on YouTube. I think he's one of the best guys I've seen. Claude Diamond at Talking on the Phone. I friended him. It come up on me thinking I friended him. And next thing, as soon as he accepted it, he FaceTimed me.
That's awesome.
I'm like, Claude Diamond, like you're like a rock star on YouTube, mate. So we had a good laugh, and I've had him on the podcast, and just people come on here and they just give you time. So I'm sure you would have found that as well, and that's probably what excites you about being involved and networking with people over there.
Yeah, for sure. And the likes of Warren and yourself as well, man. Like, yeah, everyone just wants to help each other. It's that's one of the best qualities about it.
Just a question: how many people in New Zealand have come to you now and are asking you about US real estate?
Yes, guys I work to and that. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's polarizing, right? Some people are like, man, that's crazy. What, like,
Yeah,
why would you even bother? Excuse me. And others are just like, you know, how do you do it? Like, tell me more. So
yeah,
it's two sides of the coin, sort of thing.
yeah. Probably because I do the podcast and it's on YouTube, people see it. And I just had a couple of. I checked my spam thing folder, which I hadn't checked for a while, and there's about 3 people, Aussie guys, that have reached out to me. I said, "Hey, go and watch the Thunder from Down Under today." There's a New Zealand guy and myself. We're internationals. Um, it was on Messenger. I said, "Give me a message in the morning and we'll catch up." I've had people from all over the world reach out, and there seems to be a lot more people now really taking it seriously and really wanting. And a lot of them watch. You know yourself, Zach and Rick Ginn, who do a lot of
Yeah.
free stuff and just content, and they jump in there first because Zach gets on and does coaching. I remember when he first started his group, I jumped in. It was a Zoom call, and there was about 3 of us in there.
No
Me,
way.
Warren C, and another guy, Marley, a couple other guys actually, and we got Zach to ourselves for a couple of months
Wow.
until he blew up, and then all of a sudden, he went. You know, he obviously updated the studio and everything. But great guys, him and Rick just doing the free stuff.
Yeah.
Nathan Payne's another guy that just the amount of stuff I see him give away is unbelievable. Dave Frizzell with the wholesalers toolbox. Ben Lovro, I've been with Investor Syndicate doing a bit of stuff with them the last couple of months, and they just give out free wholesaling stuff, and so it's just amazing. And I just know that now I've got a lot more people, even from England, Europe, and that sending me messages. So I think now that once COVID changed the whole scope and made it all virtual around America, and then we all started getting involved in the wholesaling side,
Yeah.
I can see 5-10 years it being a global thing, US real estate,
For
because
sure.
there's a lot of people I've met along the journey from Israel. They're massive on it. There's a lot of
Yes.
people that work from Israel, and you hear interviews with them, and they just go, "We can't even buy a house in Israel, let alone." So they're heavily investing, and they invest, or they bring properties back for investors. So all this stuff's up and about. But I just wanted to ask you the question. I want to get into the nitty gritty, the nuts and bolts, the thunderbolts. I want to ask you, when you got into wholesaling, you obviously did a little bit of self education. You jumped in with Zach and all those sort of people,
Yeah.
jumped around. You're very active in Facebook groups. What sort of structure did you choose for yourself from New Zealand to market, just systems, phone systems, all that sort of. Tell me what Marty did, what Marty's system is.
Yeah, oh mate, initially it was pretty rubbish. It was yeah, I would pull a list, right? So when I say pull a list, I would go onto a software called PropStream and get a list that might be vacant, properties that they know are vacant in an area, right? And I didn't know how to pull the data across to like my phone system, so I was writing it out each number. I had pages and pages.
Wow.
Took me forever. Yeah, mate, it took me forever. And from there, I think I started, reaching out to yourself and Warren, and you guys got me onto texting, and so that was like, a bit of a game changer because it's, you press the button, so many
Yeah.
hundred texts go out, and then the leads come in. So that made it a lot easier. Um, and then they had carrier issues and stuff, so I got back on the phones. So at the moment, like where we're at now is like I've now at a stage where I have like a US partner, so he handles dispositions, and we've recently got a VA, so like he handles those things. So
Yeah.
that's where we're at now. So myself, I'm on the phone. My man Marcel, who's our VA, he's on the phone as well, and he's also handling the tech. So it's just a matter of trying to get that lead flow coming in.
Yeah. Any internationals, VA is a virtual assistant. The
Sorry.
Philippines have great virtual assistants that you can have them already trained, and a lot of them have already worked in the real estate space in the US, and they just drive the machine. South American VAs are really good as well. I know people and they become part of a team and great on the phone, great all that sort of stuff. Great with tech. So what Marty's saying is, a lot of people get virtual assistants to do a lot of the nuts and bolts work, especially if you're not great with tech and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
You can do everything virtual now. So So texting, and then a couple of texts, and then you follow up with a call. Once you get a bit of a warm lead,
Yeah,
then
mate.
you get on the phone. And how do they go with the New Zealand accent? What do they think of the New Zealand accent over there? Do they
Yeah,
think they think you're from
no, man.
Canada?
Yeah, it's a tough one, eh? It's yeah, it's one of those things. So, look, what I find is that like I try to sort of play to my strengths. If I can get them laughing a little bit, get them on the
Yeah,
phone long enough to have a bit of banter,
yeah,
then we're good. And if there is true motivation there, like there'll be scope to do something.
yeah.
But yeah, truth be told, it's different for them. It's foreign, it's unique. So not all of them are adaptive to it.
Yeah, that's Warren C was a great. He got into the text really early. We followed a guy really early, CC Garland, that was right into the text. He hit it early, and then it sort of once COVID, it caught up, and then people, you know, a few things changed during COVID, but text message was blew up for a while and was fairly new, going back to sort of 3 years ago. Warren C mastered because he thought, I don't actually have to have conversation until I'm ready and I can see that it's a warm lead. And like
Yeah,
you said, what you're actually looking for with distressed off market property is highly motivated people. So if they're not highly motivated, when you start, you think, oh, I'll just talk them around. It
yeah,
just doesn't work like that. You're looking for highly motivated people.
right.
So you really want to just warm up on text messages. And a lot of people just text now. I mean, they do Messenger, they text. I've heard a lot of people closing deals on Messenger or text without even speaking to the people. So this is where it's at in the States. They just accelerate everything.
Yeah.
Um, so then you jump on the phone. Uh, Another thing Warren C got onto, he's big in the dispositions. Now, when you are talking to a homeowner in America and they say, I can't even understand what you're saying. Where are you ringing for? Are you a scammer? Which has changed a bit now. It's all virtual. Um, it's sort of harder on that side. And then, like obviously you need boots on the ground. You need a partner over there, or you need pay someone for boots on the ground to go out to look at the property, take photos, put a lockbox, all this sort of stuff.
Right.
So you really can't do it by yourself. You've got to make friendships, relationships, business relationships, and it takes a bit of time. So networking is a massive thing. Tell us about some of were you a bit slow on the networking, or you just jumped straight
Uh,
into it?
yeah, the reason why I chose the market that I'm in now, Akron, is that I have like a property manager there. A young bloke. So we'd have a bit of a laugh every time we catch up. I just thought, oh yeah, look, he'd be a good guy, property manager, also a realtor. But it's one of those things. They have to. It's like any position anywhere, right? They have to really want to do it to be really good at it. And yeah, so that sort of didn't work out. So now I've sort of partnered with someone who's a bit more motivated.
Yeah,
But yeah, look, relationships are huge. Yeah, the more you can have over there, really positive ones, the easier it's all going to be.
yeah, that's right. And like I say, realtors have got a lot of local drive around the streets knowledge because
Yeah,
they're on the ground there. So, because of our history over here in Australia, I actually like dealing with realtors. I like it. I know some people that do wholesaling really ethically and professionally, and really, you know, basically like a big realtor's office, like they're on the ball. There are, the elephant in the room is there's some dodgy people out there that do the wrong thing, and that's what gives it a bad name. But there are a lot of good people out there doing with good hearts and doing the right thing. And one thing I noticed, and wholesalers and realtors used to clash a lot, didn't they? They used to, and then now they're starting to work together a bit, and they're starting to be a bit of a, all right, if you can prove yourself and you're not a fly by nighter and that,
right,
we want to work with you. So it's actually really good to see because once again, over in, I know in Australia, and you probably could back this up in New Zealand, if something happens, a life crisis happens, and you can't work, and all of a sudden the mortgage, you get behind on the mortgage, it's going to take you 90, you know, 250 days to sell your house.
yeah,
No
for
quick
sure.
sale over here. You
Yep.
got to clean it up. It's so from our point of view, it is an essential thing what happens in America for people that need to actually, they'll take a discount. They don't have to fix the house up. They can just basically walk out. They can leave stuff there. Here's your money. They can say, right, that's going to mean that I'm not going to go into foreclosure and I can move on with my life and get a rental. And then hopefully I'll get back on my feet. So I've had a few close calls with some rental properties and that over the years, fell off a roof and was injured and if I had been able to sell one of our properties in 30 days, it would have taken so much pressure off us long term. So just give us a bit of background. I think it's the same in New Zealand, but from your eyes, looking at that, a lot of people criticise in America, people that aren't in the industry criticise wholesalers as sharks, opportunists, all this sort of stuff. But what did you see when you first looked at it from an outside?
Oh, yeah. I didn't have much of a view on it beforehand, but now that I've been doing it for a while, the people that I've helped, they need to be helped. Like they're serious health conditions,
Yeah,
and look, they want to have, they don't want to pass on, because we're talking about distressed properties. These generally aren't, run of the mill mansions, whatever it is.
yeah,
They're in rough shape, so they don't want to hand down something that's going to be a headache for their heirs. And so, man, it's everyone's winning, right? The person that buys it's winning. I'm winning, so I'm providing a service and making a bit of cash on the side, and so is the person that's trying to get rid of it. To your point earlier, if they could have listed it with a real estate agent, they would have.
yeah,
The fact there's someone, it's a unique proposition. What we're providing and what we're offering. So it's the
yeah.
money for their service.
Yeah, it's like anything. It's like seller finance, lease options. There's win, 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 win there if it's done properly. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, you know, with our countries being unaffordable now, lease options would be great for young people to get into a house over 10 years, and if it's done properly, it really works well. And there's some people that do it really well in the States. The next thing I was going to ask you is, have you had a funniest incident yet? Have you had something where you've just gone, "Oh my god, what happened? What happened there? This is like a comedy act." Have you had something like that yet?
Yeah, I was calling a code violation list, and there was one bloke there I got talking to, and he's like, oh, bit of motivation there, want to sell it. I think he's trying to expand his business, and so we started working out a price and that, and it was seemed pretty decent. So I talked to my partner over there. And he goes, "Oh man, I actually know this guy. He's sort of a local celebrity." I was like, "Really? Why?" He goes, "Man, he's got a bunch of rentals over here, and a lot of the houses, you sort of deal with in this area about 100 years old, and there's lead paint at the time. So what
Yeah,
happens is they start peeling. That's why he came through as a code violation."
yeah,
Anyway, this guy's, just got a bit fed up with being told what to do from the county. So it's just like, well, I'm not gonna do that. You can't make me do anything. They apply a bit more pressure. He's right, fine. What do you want me to do? You want me to paint it? And so this guy paints male appendages all over all his houses.
no,
It's true story, mate. So,
oh,
so that's
oh no, no. How did that go down?
Oh man, the thing is, we couldn't get a hold of him. Like there wasn't true
Oh,
motivation, but so yeah, we didn't end up doing business, but we always had a bit of a laugh about him. When we're following up on leads and stuff between each other.
he sounds like he's got a bit of Australian or New Zealand heritage. That's the sort of thing a Larry can do over here. But wow, yeah, that would have been good photos on Zillow. There's been some good Zillow photos
Put them
there.
in show notes, mate. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But and if anyone's listening from any young wholesaler in the states that's going to do it virtually from state to state, because it's the same thing, or anyone internationally, what's like a shortcut? What's something that you say? Oh, if I had just done that from the start, is there anything, or was there enough information out there from other people outside the country that you could actually fast track yourself?
Yeah, I think, yeah, for me, like if I was to start over again, I just get really good data, right? Just get county data. Like, we talked about Zach and Rick earlier, right?
Yeah,
And they're a big proponent of this. Yeah, so just get like really good data, county data. So, I talked about code violations earlier, or it could be evictions, or whatever it is.
yeah,
Because not everyone's getting it. Just get on the phone and call these people up. And if they don't answer, send a text. And be persistent and consistent with it, and that would be my, that would be my recommendation.
yeah, yeah. That's right. Has there been have you had a major mess up, or you've managed to be able to have you been able to avoid it? Because a lot of people have a big loss early on, and it's harsh for them, but they learn valuable lessons. Have you been able to sort of slow down the learning curve where you haven't got smashed by something?
I got smashed plenty of times, but I think that sort of helps the learning curve. And what I mean by that is like we'd get like early on, we get properties under contract, and then just what do you do next? Like, how are you going to sell it? So it's like, yeah. So I think the way I offset that over time was that now I just have a partner who specializes in that, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, so that's the thing about getting, and it's such, man, it gets you down. You put in all that work, and you win the contract, whatever you want to put it, and then you can't move it. You just feel like an idiot
yeah,
because they're
yeah,
relying on you, right? Because they're in a tight spot. That's why they're
yeah,
doing that.
yeah, yeah. So that's where you got to fess up. You get the nerves, and you got to make that phone call and be transparent
No.
because there's a lot riding on it. I've heard stories, old grandma packing the house up and everything, and then the wholesaler's not contactable. Phones are it's just terrible.
Right.
It's just so. I think it's getting better. That's been regulated in a few places, and I think people are just sort of, I think there was during COVID there was so many people sitting around doing nothing. They were all going to become a
Yeah.
wholesaler, watch YouTube, and I think it's sort of leveling itself out now that there's been a market shift. What would you say is your biggest achievement so far out of all the stuff that you've done in the States?
Yeah, I think its current state, like getting to a position now where it's building consistency within the business. So getting those pieces together, as in forming a partnership, having an employee doing the tasks, doing some of the tasks, and yeah, basically, yeah, so set up to get going. And obviously with that comes results. Like we're being able to move properties now.
Yeah, yeah. And what is Marty's wholesaling superpower? What are you really good at within the business? Because there's a lot of different things. What are you really good at that you just go, I love this. I love doing this.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the reality of it is that this isn't it's all ridiculously hard, and it's even more ridiculously harder that we're on the other side of the world trying to do it. It's
Yeah,
it's it's but so the superpower would be just having the resilience in my mind to say, no, no, like all these setbacks and all these challenges, I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to push forward and just keep, picking up the phone or sending a text or whatever it is, keep reaching out, to get a result. That's resilience. I put it down to.
yeah, yeah. Just a quick thing on your education side of it. Was it all self taught off like YouTube and that, or did you get any mentors along the way?
No, I mean, besides, yourself and Warren, no, it's sort of self-taught. So, I just made a real effort. Like every time I've got headphones in, or every time I'm in the car, I'm in university. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to get as
Yeah,
much
yeah,
information as I can, and on that point, just try to not have a million different people. Just have it sort of concise, so it's more of a
yeah.
clear message.
Yeah, you got to pick your people, don't you? And there's some people you resonate with. There was two guys I really loved on the phones, and I said Claude was one of them. They were really great on the phone. Bryce McKinley was another one from Dallas, Texas. Just really good on the phone, and he was from a sales background. So I just watched a lot of their stuff. But you can't listen to everyone because you just end up with overload. So you've got to pick your people. I know Warren C started off with Steve Trang, as a fan of Steve Trang's podcast and all that sort of stuff. We used to listen, obviously Joe McCall, and then through watching Joe McCall, he was pretty, one of the sort of out by himself early days, and then found out John Jackson was the king of lease options, and then you just follow these people and you look at and you listen to those people. But there is a lot of people doing it, and there's a lot of people that are doing really well underground that you don't even hear
Sure.
about. So that's another thing. Now, um, that's next question. Other than the Thunder from Down Under podcast being your favourite podcast, what other podcasts do you listen to?
Man, I used to, the thing that really sort of sold me on it at first was this guy called Sean Terry.
Oh
And
yeah, Sean
in
Terry.
terms
Yeah,
of an educator, man, I just thought he was top notch. He seems to stop doing his podcast. He puts out a bit of content now, but
yeah.
TTP, man, that's I like Paul
Oh yeah,
Daniels.
TTP.
Rhino Shop, man,
Yeah,
that's the one. I just like the energy that he puts out. Uh,
yeah.
and obviously the content's good, but man, you resonate with someone that's got that energy that you sort of aspire to,
I've always loved Brent Daniels, and same thing. Hearing him on the phone, he come a bit later, and I've got one of his TTP things. I've actually sent him a few messages.
Really?
This is a shout out to Brent
Yeah.
Daniels. I'm not saying he's ghosted me, but he hasn't replied because he's a very busy man. But Brent, if you're watching this or one of your friends is watching this, you've got to come on, mate.
Do it.
You've got to come on the Thunder from Down Under. We've got some Australian, New Zealand
Yeah.
audience, so we want to share with the world, mate. We love your work, and he's right. You've got to talk to people. If you're able to talk to people in the modern era, you're on fire. So we'll do a shout out for Brent Daniels. What about books, mindset stuff? Do you do any mindset sort of work?
Oh yeah, no. To be fair, I'm not a massive reader, but yeah, a lot of what I find interesting is a lot of this sort of US property investment podcast. It's always got an element of mindset to it.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, yeah. So nothing in particular, but I think all of it sprinkles it in.
yeah. So yeah, you're not a big reader. Have you got onto the audio books? Do you do audio
A little
books or
bit,
just mainly?
yeah. What have I done recently? 4 Hour Work Week, Tim Ferriss, Richest Man in Babylon. Yeah, uh, yeah. Not a not a massive reader, to be fair. But yeah, like another thing that it teaches you is like goal setting and just that they always talk about your morning rituals. So I've implemented
Yeah.
things like that into it, and it's like yeah, this year it's been a big change, and it's all from sort of the input I get from all these sort of avenues, I suppose, right?
And do you have like a morning routine? Like, could I just clarify first? I think you said you're 3 hours in front of Australia, aren't you?
Two, if you're on
Two,
the east.
2 hours.
Yeah, yeah,
So, okay, so
yeah.
that would mean if you're in front of us, w- hypothetically, you get up. It's midnight. What time is it in New York? If it's midnight in New Zealand,
Man, I don't even know.
so
Sorry. But
I know here I run
it
by
must be
Eastern
about
Standard.
4 p.m. or no, earlier than that. Anyway, I get up at 5:30, and what's the time over there?
Yeah,
So what's that? About 5 hours, 4 hours ago. Yeah, so it must be about 1:30 Eastern
one
Standard.
thirty. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
Okay.
I get up, go to the gym, come back, clean up. I've got a wife and two girls, so clean up, and then
Yeah.
yeah, get them off to school and that, and then yeah, get into it, mate. Yeah, calling just on the phone.
Okay. I'm just going to go to the chat. We've I just need because the faces haven't come up for some reason. Someone's written correct. Who was saying correct? My guy. I reckon that'd be the man himself from Ohio, the Gorilla CEO, I think, or it could be Ken Sykes. I'm not sure. And then we've got someone's put 5:37 p.m. So identify yourself. Just put in another message just with your name, and we'll do a shout out to you. We love people watching the Thunder from Down Under podcast. Like I said, amazing people. We can't say it enough, Marty, can we? The amazing
Yeah,
people that we've got. It's your buddy Gorilla. That's the Gorilla CEO, Jamal. He's up and about. He does live TikToks. He's into everything. He's got his Gorilla footwear. He's into everything, real estate. So actually, I don't know if you know him. I'll hook you up with him. He's
sure.
in Ohio,
Yeah, perfect.
so he's a good contact for you. He knows every back street of Ohio, every city. So I'll hook you up with him.
Nice.
Um, so yeah, just on the mindset stuff. So you've got your routine. You go to
Yeah, yeah,
gym.
yeah.
How does that free you up for your lifestyle? Is it help you with kids? Like, do you find it better than a 9 to 5? How's that
Well,
worked for
it
you?
just gives you an energy kick, and you're in a healthy state of mind, and
Yeah,
you got like I say, you just got an energy boost. You're ready to face the day
yeah. So there's something that's rubbed off on you, that high energy.
for sure.
You know, because once again, every successful person I've been able to rub shoulders with in the
Yeah.
states, they all have some sort of routine. Now, some people have a very lax one. Some people are late to get up, but then they have a routine. They might do it at the end of the day where they just take a bit of time, almost meditate, think about their day. So it's not the same for everyone. But so you've actually obviously mimicked that and gone, well, it's working
Mhm.
for a lot of other people. I'm going to do the same thing. Um, yeah. What like if I'll jump back to again, if someone new is watching, either a virtual wholesaler in California that wants to do New York or someone overseas, um, what would be what would you be like? Take time, educate yourself. Would you be just jump in and learn as you go? Which method did you use?
Nah, man. I'll borrow it off Brent Daniels, right? Take perfect. Sorry, what is it? Take consistent and perfect action. So yeah, just take
Yeah,
action, man. Because the thing is, it's like with anything, right? If you haven't done it before, and it's a bit like, ooh, how do I do it? You'll be like the old analysis paralysis. You just sit in the sideline and
yeah,
say, oh, well, if I can't quite do it perfect, oh, I may as well just not bother. But if you just make an attempt, and it doesn't matter how it turns out, man, you started, and then the next step's going to be easy. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. What about? I forgot to ask this before. Did you have any problem with phone systems being out the US? All of that sort of
No,
stuff.
not
Did you have any?
yeah, not too bad. I jumped on this one called Open Phone, and it's pretty reasonably priced, and it works well. So that was no bother. So what that allowed for is it just gave me a US number, and I
Yeah,
wasn't too sharp with it at first. I just took the first number they showed me, but after a while, you
yeah,
learn that if you get it, because it's all area codes over there, right? So if you get it in the area that you're targeting, you get a good
yeah.
response rate.
Yeah, I found we had a lot of troubles early days when I started, but I found the best platform where I could actually route it to my phone. It'd ring American numbers. I could be walking down the beach here in Australia and be talking to someone in New York City, walking in the streets in New York City, and that was Kixie. Kixie, I found the best one because it's a whole platform with a CR.
All right.
You can run Teams off it. You've got a power dollar, and you can actually sort of it's got a monthly cost, but you can do it half if you only have like one or two numbers. So Kixie is a really good product. Yeah, that's probably the best that I found because it is so handy having it all come to your phone. Because yourself, if it goes to a CRM, half the time people ring in and it's a dead end and you miss calls and unless you got, I think you can do Google Voice, but you have to have a VPN on your computer. A VPN. That's a tip for all the internationals. You've got to have a VPN on your computer. Um, I just got another VPN. I can now get True People Search, all that sort of stuff.
Really?
I was blocked. Yeah, I was blocked for
Oh
that.
man, that's game
When I
changer.
first started, I could get everything, and then they said, "No, there's some Aussie guy over there ringing people trying to buy their house. We'll put an end to that guy's career." Um, but yeah, these are the things that, like, I talk to my American friends and they go, "Oh wow, I never even thought of that." Like, I wanted to get call rail and I couldn't unless I actually got like a air, um, like a platform like Kixie. I couldn't run anything. So yeah, and what have you got into the CRMs and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah,
Have you?
yeah, a few. What do I got now? I got man, I just got a real basic one, Because all I really what I like out of a CRM is just who have I got to call that day.
Yeah,
I tried to get into the fancier one called Friday. It's all right, but nah, man, I just like the date and what I got to do, knock it out. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
A lot of people say that. Like, if you're an old school guy like me, you're in your 50s and you used to run your business off right on the back of a cigarette packet and a slab of beer on a carton of beer. Your tech, I never turned a computer on. You were lucky to have a bit of background, but to keep it simple, I saw a guy. It was just a YouTube thing I seen years ago. And he's a young guy, and he used to have a headset on, talking to people on the phone while he was gaming.
Matinee.
And
Yeah, I know the bloke. Yeah, I know.
yeah, and he had a Manila folder, and he refused. He was only a young guy, but
Yeah.
and he just kept everything in Manila folders and that. I mean, you can do that, but um, you know what I mean. Like, the thing being is, even for someone that's got into the tech like me now, and I'm starting to embrace it, a good CRM is really handy. You can text blast out of it.
Right.
You can just do so much stuff to leverage your time. And then if you get a VA, the VA can run a lot of the stuff in the background and do a lot of the nuts and bolts. So the preferred ones that I use, I don't want to plug anything, but Market Pro from Ben Lovro at Investor Syndicate. I've had internally, I've used that, and that's Go High Level, which is the, a lot of them are on Go High Level, and the other one I use two separate ones for two different parts of business, is Market Pro from Dave Frizzell, which is basically just out now, um, and that's like, the price is insane. People need to go and look at the price is insane. So for a new wholesaler, that's a really good one to get in budget. You can build your own websites and everything off it and all that. So even if you just did that, it's still cheap, quarter the price of other products out there. So they're the two that I use. There's many others. I mean, I've used many others. Some of them are really expensive, and like I say, you want to have something that you can just keep for the long term. It's got your websites on there. It's got, you connect it to everything.
Yep.
But I have embraced technology, and at Investor Syndicate and Social Media Blueprint, Home Invest, they taught me how to use these CRMs, and I'm like, how long's this been going on for? Longer than US real estate. So check those out. I think across the screen now we've got I've got on the going across the screen, Thunder from Down Under Podcast.com. Some of those products you go into the wholesalers marketplace in there, and I've got PropStream in there. You could do a free trial of all those. So just go in there, go to the wholesalers. I've actually forgot the name of it because I haven't been in there for a while, but you can actually, there's about 8 products like that you can go and sample, 14-day free trials. But once again, find what works for you and embrace it. Embrace it. If it can, like solopreneurs like, us guys, before you start branching out and getting in teams, you need to leverage your time because everything is so time consuming. So any other things that you find is a really handy tool that you've picked up?
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, a good texting platform is comes
Yep.
in handy. I use REO Reply. There's a bit
Yep.
of a game
Yep.
changer once I got onto that.
Yep.
Sort of automates what you're doing. No, not really. I think the next sort of thing I would look at is probably like a dialer, like triple line dialer,
Yeah. Like the old
Mojo or something.
Match Leads Mojo,
Yeah,
all those
yeah,
sort of things there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's next level when you start really hitting the beat. But I can't believe it. We've gone 47 minutes. It's just like flown. So we'll wrap it up, Marty. I mean, I'll have you back on another time once you've done another half a dozen deals, and you might have me on your show by then. You might have your own show just up and about in the States. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate you coming on, and what's your future? What do you foresee in the future? How would you like this to pan out in the next 5 to 10 years with US real estate?
Yeah, I mean, just continue to build consistency within the business. And long-term plans is that start with wholesaling, then with flips, and then it's just generating more capital to have more buy and hold investments over there.
Yeah,
So it's by that stage you sort of can't mess it up. You got money coming in, and so everything else is sort of not as important, right? You've sort of hit your
yeah,
goals. So yeah, so that's the trajectory.
yeah. You got plans to head over to the States and spend a little bit of
Yeah,
time over
yeah. I
there?
mean, once we grow this sort of stage out of the business, yeah, absolutely. You want to start getting over there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you'll do. I reckon my tip, Marty. This would be my tip with young kids: is get to the Orlando market, get a couple of things happening there, and then you can fly over for business and just go to Disneyland with the kids while you're
Hey,
there.
why not?
Yeah, and sorry, last question. Sorry, we're nearly at 50 minutes, but last question. This is um, why did you pick Ohio? And are there any other markets you like? Like you're in Michigan. Are there any other markets around the country that you like, or do you like those sort of cheaper price point Midwestern states? Was there a reason you picked
Yeah, I mean, look,
up top?
the reason why I picked Michigan in the start because the guy that was sort of teaching me, he was sort of endorsing that place, and it penciled out. The reason why I got into Ohio, yeah, well, I mean, it's better cash flow than Michigan even, and the reason
Yeah,
why I
yeah,
wholesale there is I had that connection.
yeah,
In terms of branching out, yeah, I mean, look, I think for wholesaling, there's a lot of demand where there's going to be cash flowing properties, and there's just
yep,
there's a lot of transactions in general in Ohio.
yeah.
So I don't think it's a bad place, to be positioned at the moment. But I think the smart money's in appreciation. So over time, it'd be nice to get out to say like Florida and Texas. It'd to
Yeah.
be active there.
Now, Marty, how do people reach out to you? You're on Facebook, so they can look you up on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah. So just reach out to me. Marty Neville is my handle there. Also on Instagram, so marty.neville.1. Sort of got a crap name there, but reach out.
What I'll do, Marty, firstly, I'll set you up with Jamal. He's connected in Ohio, and if anyone that's watching wants to get in contact with Marty over in the States and wants to work with Marty, just put it in the chat. Just put it in the chat. Say me. Yep, love to meet Marty, and I'll set you up on Facebook, or I'll work it out. However, because Marty is one thing that I like about Marty is he's a genuine nice guy. You know what I mean? And it's just really good doing business with people that are good people, good ethics. So I mean, he's a great guy to know. We've done a couple of little podcasts in this Australian one with Warren C and all that sort of stuff, and he's just a gentleman, and he's a credit to be in the US industry. So anyone wants to reach out and network with him, he's probably in your group. I notice you're pretty good in you're very encouraging, and you're all over it in Facebook. So he's probably in a lot of the groups anyway. But yeah, anyone wants to reach out with Marty, especially people from Ohio. And Marty, have you? Is there any people interested in New Zealand that might want to invest over there that you might be able to get over to the States?
Yeah, it's funny, man. I was about to launch a business, like wanted to do just that, but man, the blooming tax department over here is just so they hate on international investment.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous how stringent it is. Like it was good. Like Aussies, far better set up for it. They almost encourage it, But yeah, over here it's so to answer your question, yeah, there is a lot of demand, just due to yields, basically, and lower entry point. But yeah, there's just a big sort
I
of.
can see you. I can see you hooking up with the Gorilla CEO because he's all over it up there. So I'll get you hooked up. All right, cool. And that's a great point because I like the Ohio market and the Michigan market because they've got those. I mean, you look at a single family house, or it might need a little bit of work, a little bit of money spent on it, but you can't buy a car for the same price as that over here. Like houses are, out in the suburbs, to buy one rental right out in the outer suburbs is like $800,000, $850,000. I could buy a whole portfolio of single families in Cleveland. You know what I mean? It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to work on Australians and that as well, and a lot of people, the mindset's not there yet. So we'll just keep going out there. We'll be us Anzacs will come together and we'll keep trying. But yeah, hook you up with some people over there. All right, Marty, thanks for coming on. It's been great to have you on. And look, congratulations on the wholesaling success, getting those deals done. Congratulations on the buy, the buy and hold ones. Fantastic, like you're killing it. I mean, for someone that's fairly new, and you've got rentals over in Australia and New Zealand. So congratulations, mate. You have a go, and you go head first. You go head first, bum up, and that's what we love to see. And the Americans love it too. They love that. Aussies and New Zealanders are like that. Like when we were in battle back at Gallipoli. First ones off the beaches. So it's good to see you, taking action. And look, we'll have a lot of contact in the future. But I wish you the best, and I'll get you back on the show once you're crushing it again. And that's if I can. I'll probably have to talk to your manager by then.
Yeah. Hey, anyway, appreciate it. It's been awesome.
All right, no worries. So there you go, guys. That's Marty from New Zealand. He's smashing it. So if Marty can do it from New Zealand, you guys can do it easily in your own market and virtually in the States. So stick at it. I know it's been a pretty hot market for a couple of years, but things are shifting. So stick at it. I'd just like to thank everyone who was alive in the chat and were watching. Thanks for joining us for our first one in the last couple of months. Like I said, go and subscribe, join, go and check the website out, the Thunderdome as we call it. Get in the Thunderdome and have a look around. You can go in there, hit the tab to YouTube, subscribe, become part of the family. Got the Gorilla CEO is coming in next Thursday. Now, I call out to all my Australian and New Zealand fans, or over the Southern Hemisphere. You've got to come and see the Gorilla. I've called him Ohio's Mr. T. That's what I've called him. He's unbelievable. So come in and join everyone. Come in and join him next week. And we've got some big guests. I've got the feelers out for some big guests. So Mr. TTP, I want to see you in here.
Yeah.
There's a couple other people I'm going to talk to Nathan Payne. He's mates with Jerry Norton. I'd love to get Jerry Norton on here, and I want to get a few of these people on here because these are icons. These are like rock stars to us guys over here. They're bigger than our sports stars. We hear the name Jerry Norton, and it's amazing. So All right, let's check out. It's what is it? It's Friday over here, so we're heading into the weekend. Sorry, America, you guys have got another day to catch us, but yep, thanks for joining us, guys, and come in next week at I think I'll tell the gorilla now. We're going to have to move it forward to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Thursday. We're a bit late today because we had different time zones and all the rest of it, but if you subscribe or you come through one of the Facebook groups, you'll get notified and just come in and join the family. All right. Cheers, Marty. Have a good one. And thanks, guys, for watching.